0959 0976 970859 or 0955 447347 0955 447347. Email iiazambia@gmail.com. See you there.
Democracy and freedom of expression is about tolerating the views that you don't like from someone you might not like. This is the burning issue on the happy world of 5FM radio, bringing you hot, smoldering topics on a weekly basis. Your participation is important.
A very good morning and welcome to yet another edition of the burning issue here on the happy world of 5FM radio on 89.9 in Lusaka, and we are also live on our partner radio stations, and we are live on Tuta FM radio in Mansa, covering Luapula province on 90.7, also live on Spice FM in Kabwe Central province on 91.1, and Wave FM radio in Mazabuka, covering Southern province on 98.7. And we are also live on our Facebook page, that is 5FM Radio Zambia. Also our YouTube channel, which is 5FM Zambia. And look out for the call that you will be looking out for your calls, because later in the course of the program, we will definitely give you an opportunity as listeners to interact with our guest. Now, let me also make mention here that we are having a slight technical challenge to those listening in on 89.9. Alternatively, you can listen to this particular program on online. So you can definitely download the apps. Either you can download Radio Box or Radio Garden, or indeed Simple Radio. That's an app that you can have on your phone and listen to us from anywhere around the world. All right, so let me at this point take this opportunity to introduce our guest this morning. And our guest this morning is Mr. Sakwiba Sikota, State Council. He is the chairperson of the United Kwacha Alliance, UKA. And I'm your host, Zachariah Banda. State Council, it's a pleasure to have you. Welcome to the burning issue.
Thank you, Mwauka Bwanji.
Uka. You haven't been on this show for the longest time. I think the time that you were on this particular program was when it was being hosted by the late Mr. Mateo Piri. That is way back.
And that's very true. And in fact, the last time is when MT himself is the one who interviewed me.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. It's good to see you. Good to have you. And how are you?
I'm good.
Aging gracefully?
I hope so.
Right. Congratulations also on the fact that you were appointed chairperson of the United Kwacha Alliance. You must be humbled to get that to carry that responsibility.
It is extremely humbling if your peers and your colleagues ask you to take up that position on their behalf. It's certainly humbling. Also, it makes you have to become very, very aware that what you do, what you say, may reflect badly on your colleagues. So you have to always be at your best behavior and keep your wits about you.
Mm. And how far have you gone with the registration of UKA itself? I know it's been quite controversial.
It's only been controversial because the government seems to be so afraid of us. It's something which should be straightforward. It's something which shouldn't even be in the news. Merely registering an organization should not be something which entails that the entire Minister of Home Affairs has to have press conferences about it. The Permanent Secretary has to have press conferences about it. It shows you that there's something wrong in government. Where we are at the moment with the United Kwacha Alliance is simply at this point. Unlike what Honorable Jack Mwimbu was saying, he was, I'm afraid, I can't find perhaps let me say, he was being economical with the truth. when he said that we are the ones holding up the registration of the United Kwacha Alliance. Right now, as we speak, our fingerprints were put to the police with the form which one needs to take to Registrar of Society, because they have to endorse on that form that they've done the security check in terms of our fingerprints, and that there's nothing wrong. Or if there's something wrong, they tell us that there's this or that which is wrong. This particular person that you have put on your list has got a criminal record of such and such. And then once we have that, that is when you can take the form, which has been then endorsed by the police, to the Registrar of Societies. So for the Minister of Home Affairs to say that he is being, it's below him to go to such cheap depths. What he should have done then is, if there is some legitimate issue, and if he feels that he's the one who should be handling it, since he's the one who's making the press briefings, he should call us and say, hey, gentlemen, you haven't done this or that. And at that point, we'd tell him that it's your people, the police who fall under your ministry, who are holding up the form. We cannot bring it here unless they release it to us. That's where we stand.
So the form is not released yet?
It has not been released for the past over 2 months now. And no reason is being given as to why they are holding on to it.
But you must have made follow-ups.
We've made several follow-ups. They keep on telling us, oh, next week, oh, it's there was one thing we're doing next week. That next week never comes, it seems. It's as elusive as the famous 14 hours. That's how elusive this next week is.
Maybe it's because the list has names that the government is not comfortable with.
Then they should tell us. It's as simple as that. Then they should tell us that no, because of this one, and this one, so that we bring different names. That's why I'm saying that it's so.
Are you able to share the list on that name of names on that list?
I don't have the form here with me right now.
But do we have ECR on it?
No, he's not on it. He's not on it.
Yourself?
I'm on it. The ones I can offhand remember, because there are 10 names on there. The ones I can remember offhand are President Savoy Mboela, President Edith Z. Nawakwi, myself, President Jackson Silavwe, President Chisakateka. Can I remember some other names? Well, those I can remember offhand.
Yeah.
Now, unless maybe one of your callers, when we've got the call in, will call and say, of those names you mentioned, there's this one who did this and this in 2021 or whatever.
There could be some of those that still have cases in courts, maybe
a case
questionable.
Our constitution is very clear. Innocent until proven guilty. Our constitution is clear on that. And let's say that is the reason why they were thinking so. Then they should tell us. Not just sit back and hold back the forms. Then they should tell us.
But then how do you look at the application of the Public Order Act under the UPND Alliance government? I mean, would you say that what you are going through with challenges of having UKA registered could be alluded to one of the misapplication or badly applied Public Order Act?
I think that you're very right. I think Inspector General Grafel Musamba should be sent to perhaps a grade 9 civics class where they talk about rights and so on, so that he learns what even our students in the schools know, that our constitution gives the right of assembly, gives the right of free speech, gives us those rights, and doesn't allow anybody to randomly step in and stop us from exercising those rights. So I'm willing to pay for the course for Grafero Musamba to go there. And then when he finishes there, I'm willing to pay for his for him to go and do a diploma in law, so that he understands this, because quite clearly he does not understand. He's been given a job which is above him. He doesn't understand it. For him to have made a declaration that he will not allow for opposition parties to hold rallies shows that he is not qualified to hold that post. He doesn't understand the job that he's supposed to have. Sadly, that is the kind of person who has been appointed to that position.
But then you seem to have quite attacked his persona. He probably is basically just doing his job in terms of as prescribed.
He's not doing it as prescribed. His job description does not put in any one of the job descriptions that you must breach the Constitution. That is certainly not in his job description.
But,
so you cannot say that he's just applying. His description in the job description, in fact, says he must uphold the Constitution.
But as a Leonard Council,
let me request that you do this.
Right.
And I put this open challenge to Grafero Musamba. Why don't you invite him so that we can have a live debate, I and him, on this question? If indeed he is applying the law, he will expose me to the people when we have the debate. But I can assure you, he's too afraid to come and debate me on this issue. He will never do that because he knows it is wrong. If otherwise, let him come and debate me on this issue.
Also, as a Leonard Council, correct me if I'm wrong, you are a constitutional lawyer, I understand. And I think that if the likes of the Inspector General of Police is doing something that is unconstitutional, surely you should have taken the legal route to claim your rights fully.
If you recall, I think at the last presser we had, I don't know whether you were present.
I followed that one, yes.
Yes, I actually said that we are now going to be going the legal route on some of these issues.
Okay.
And hopefully he will come to court. I'm looking forward to the day he comes to court to try to justify what he's doing. And I hope that people will listen in and they will clearly see the ineptitude of this man, total ineptitude.
Let's move on, State Council. As UKA, how do you treat the apology by Home Affairs Minister Jack Mwimbu, because you just mentioned about him as well, with regards to the alleged police raid at the Kabwe Catholic Church, where former President Edgar Lungu was present?
First of all, I'd like to correct you. It's not an alleged police raid. It did happen. There's footage of it. So do not use the word alleged for it. And it's not alleged because you would not have the minister apologizing for an alleged thing. He's apologizing for the raid. So let everybody out there know that we're not talking about an alleged. We're talking about something that actually happened. Something which is so sad that in our country, you can have people go and raid a church. It reminds me of what we were seeing in Rwanda, that churches were being raided by people who were violent. People were even getting killed in churches in Rwanda. Is that the direction that Musamba wants to take this country? Now, with the apology itself, I don't think that it is sufficient. The apology did not address the issue of other priests who have been summoned to the police for simply giving a sermon to the people, for simply siding with the people and feeling for them with regards to the high cost of living. They get summoned to the police. The Minister of Home Affairs did not apologize to those people. The Minister of Home Affairs did not apologize for calling an archbishop of the Catholic Church a Lucifer. You know that Secretary General of the UPND called Archbishop Banda a Lucifer. No apology has been made for that. The Minister of Home Affairs only gave half an apology. There are two people's rights which were infringed in there. That of Bishop Mulenga and that of former President ECL, who was just exercising what is his democratic right. The Minister of Home Affairs did not apologize to former President ECL. That's why I'm saying that it is a half-hearted apology. It is an apology which has been made after they saw the reaction of the people on social media. It does not come from the heart. It comes from fear. It is not a genuine apology.
I'll bring you back to the issue of registering of UKA. What do you want to register it as?
There are two entities that we wish to register. We wish to register the United Kwacha Alliance as an umbrella body for the various political parties. And also, by the way, United Kwacha Alliance is not just for political parties, also NGOs, professional bodies, and so forth, who ascribe to what we are advocating for. Then we also want to register a political party. We put forward, because on the form, you put 3 names. You're required to put 3 names.
Right.
The 3 names we put forward is UKA as a party, not United Kwacha Alliance, but UKA as a party. We also put UKANI and Arise. When we went there, for some reason or other, I said, no, UKA is not available. The other 2, you can go ahead, you can have them.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, because time is going, let's not insist on UKA. We will, in the meantime, though, we will ask them to give us the reasons for that. But because time is going, let us go with the second option, which is UKANI. And they said, okay, fine. So we left. The very following day, we get a call from somebody from Registrar Office saying, no, that name we said is okay, UKANI is not available as well. No, you can't use that. And we said, is that so? Why? He said, no, you can't use it. We said, okay, then we'll use Arise. No, even Arise is not available. After they had said it is available. So a letter was written to them saying, can you give us the reasons why these names are not available? No response. Reminder to them, no response. Again, we've been waiting. That is one of the issues which is going to court as well, to compel them to give us reasons why those names are not available.
So then there's also an argument from spectators out there to say, is it really necessary that you have to register UKA as an alliance? I mean, the example has been given to say, well, UPND went into an election as an alliance. So UPND alliance, not that they went and have it registered, but they still went in as an alliance because parties came together. The argument around the UPND is that the UPND was the flag carrier because they were a more established political party. Are you doing this because you don't have a carrier in UKA in terms of the party that you can front going into elections, for example? Is that the reason why you really want to register this? Because you've got options of going into an election without having it registered, just like the UPND did.
You've asked, perhaps let me break down the thing into two answers.
Right.
What is very interesting is this. You've correctly stated that there is the UPND Alliance, never been registered, never, ever been registered.
Right.
UPND Alliance has been allowed, even before they came into office, to hold political rallies.
As an alliance.
As an alliance, UPND Alliance. Nobody stood in their way. They did that. UPND Alliance, not registered or anything like that, have been able, not have been able, have actually been recognized by the state, in that if you look at any of the public state functions that are there, there's always a program which is put out. And in each and every one of those programs, you'll find UPND alliance partners, arrival or whatever, or them leaving. You'll always find that. You go to the functions, like I went to the last one, the Labor Day function. They will even have in the official tent where the dignitaries are, with name tags stating UPND Alliance partners. That is in state functions. They are recognizing an unregistered entity. Now, when it comes to United Kwacha Alliance, all of a sudden, rules change. No, you're not registered, so you cannot hold a political rally. You saw what they did in Kafue. Yet they were holding political rallies as UPND Alliance before they came into government. They turn around and say, no, United Kwacha Alliance, you cannot be having all kinds of things that you're doing because you're not registered. So I agree with you that technically there is no need. But because these people want to put unnecessary roadblocks, we said to ourselves, okay, fine, so that there isn't any controversy, so that there's no unnecessary dust, let's just go and register in spite of the fact that we don't need to. But we'll then try to do that again, roadblocks. That's how much they fear us. If they didn't fear us, they, in fact, they'd be encouraging us, helping us, say, okay, now you are registered, let's see what you are. But they're so scared of us that they'll do anything to try to stop us. The nightmares they have when they're sleeping is that of UKA. Those are the nightmares they have.
There's a general perception that the only issue around UKA is former President Edgar Lungu, because they feel he is a factor, and it's a sign that you want to use UKA to front him for presidential candidate come 2026. Also, I would like you to really clarify here whether there are plans in UKA of fronting Edgar Lungu to be a sellable candidate in 2026 under UKA.
Yes, thank you very much. I'll state first of all that every Zambian has got a right to stand for presidential elections so long as they're above the age of 35, so long as they're not a declared bankrupt, so long as they don't have a criminal record from the past 5 years. There is nothing to stop any individual. So any one of us in UKA actually do qualify. There's nothing special about me, Sakwiba Sikota, that should make anybody say, oh, what about him? There's nothing special about Harry Kalava for people to say, oh, okay, it's Harry. There's nothing special about Savoy Mboyela. There's nothing special of any one of us for people to focus on us. The only thing is, do we meet the constitutional requirement? Answer, yes. So that question ends there. Now, with regards to saying that I need to have a United Kwacha Alliance in order to be able to stand in the elections, I don't need that. I've got United Liberal Party. I could stand as United Liberal Party. President Harry Kalava has got Citizens First. He doesn't need United Kwacha Alliance. He could stand as Citizens First. President Kateka doesn't need United Kwacha Alliance. She could stand as a New Heritage Party. Let's see, who else could I can even give an example of President TCL. He doesn't need United Kwacha Alliance. He could stand as Patriotic Front. And let's say, let me take an example of President Jackson Silabwe. He doesn't need Golden Party. He could, United Kwacha Alliance, he could stand as Golden Party. If Golden Party, for example, were to say, no, they don't want him to stand, and we feel that Jackson Silabwe is the one who should stand, and Golden Party is in the way, we could simply say, okay, fine, stand on New Heritage Party, or we could say stand on United Liberal Party. So Jackson, in spite of his party, they are not doing that, but I'm just using it as an example. In spite of his party saying that he cannot stand, he would be able to stand under United Liberal. So those issues are not issues at all.
As a learned counsel, statements that have been issued by President ECL have been described as criminal, especially where he has warned that there could be early elections. And I think that the government has said that they are still studying his statement. What implications would come with
this 2021 election or area election? Because anything is possible. And when I say this, some people get scared. Oh, what is HH Akambajan? Oh, Apangamulan. Kuribe Mulan. The people of Zambia decide when they want an election. In 1991, the people of Zambia decided to have an election 2 years ahead of the scheduled election. The scheduled election, Lorenzo, we may have been young that time, was supposed to be 1993. But the people said, Twachula Bafla, Tabutika Maning.
That's
Twayandaman, Tulukupengaman, Twapenga. We want an election 2 years ahead. And the people of Zambia decided so. They are the owner of the constitution. They can amend it. They can decide what they want to change leadership that is failing. They did change leadership 2 years ahead of the regular 5-year period. It's the people who decide. So, Kuribe Mulandu, Tingapange for saying this. So, the people of Zambia, whenever the election will be held, they've taken a decision that PF has destroyed their families. There are too many marriages breaking today because of economic hardships, which lead to social hardships, which lead to hunger, which leads to arguments between husband and wife. And marriages are breaking. And children are suffering. And women are suffering mainly. Lorenzo.
So, you asked me a question, I think that President Hakainde has answered it for me.
So it's a different government, right?
It's a different government, yes.
Yes, and President Hakainde Hichilema could have said that, and maybe it didn't matter with ECL's government. He may not receive the same ignorance. I mean, this government may not just ignore his statements. They may want to act on it. I mean, the fact that
are they going to say President HH was lying when he said that? Are they going to say President HH should not be listened to? Are they going to say President HH is not reliable? Unless they say that, then they should follow what he has said.
Was what HH saying alarming at the time?
It's not alarming.
Was it inciting?
He was using the exact same words that President ECL is using, calling for early elections, saying that the people are fed up. Exact same words.
As a learned counsel, what would be the procedure of calling for early elections?
The procedure for calling for early elections would be for the UPND to recognize that they have indeed failed the Zambian people. There is no doubt about that. And for them to realize that it is better for the country to start again on a new slate because they failed. They should step aside They should have the heart of what Kaunda had in 1990, when he heard the calls of the people and he said, okay, fine, I was supposed to go until 93, but because you're asking for this, we'll have the elections early, 2 years early. We'll have them in 91. That is because he was feeling for the people. That is because he recognized that there was great tension in the country that needed to be released. And that is what should always make Zambians and politicians decide what to do. It is to ensure that we do what the people want.
There are calls that, in fact, there are, I think we saw in today's tabloids, there are youths that have actually reported the former president to the police for such statements. Your thoughts on that? And you think that they have a right to, those who have reported?
Those who have everybody has got a right to report, but they've also got a right to ensure that they are not breaking the law as they do so. I don't think Grafo Musamba would allow for Uka youths to go to the police to make any demand in the manner that they were doing. It shows you the bias which is there. It shows you that it has been set up so that then the police are going to then say they're acting. It's a script which has already been written. It's a written script, because the first thing that should have happened naturally would have been the police to have dispersed them to say, no, this is an illegal whatever, go away. If you want to think less than 10 of you come here and make your report, no, don't come here with a big crowd. But no, because it's in the script, they allowed that. Now, turning to what they're complaining about, you'll find that there was, first of all, high-ranking members of the UPND making those statements that we're going to see what, we're studying what Esau said, whatnot, enticing their people to rise. You remember at the Mungu airport when President Hakainde was going for the Komboka, you had high-ranking ministers, you had high-ranking national leaders in the UPND, high-ranking leaders at provincial level in the UPND, actually inciting people at the airport within earshot of the president, telling them that they're not doing enough, you must become more militant, whatnot. Basically, some of them, I was surprised that can minister who I've got such high regard for talk in that manner, incite people. Now, as a result of that incitement, that is why you see this happening. It is very, very similar to what was happening in Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany, you had the political leadership inciting the youths and so on. Then you had the boys' brigade start going and shutting down shops of Jews, doing that kind of things because of the incitement from the leaders up there. What this government should ensure is that we do not go and follow the steps that happened in Nazi Germany. They've got that responsibility to call in those leaders. People like, is it Mwinde or Mwimbe or something like that, who went on the thing and is clearly talking violence. They've got a responsibility to call them in and tell them, do not do that, stop that, go out there and retract those words that you have made. But since they're not doing so, they are complicit, they are part of it. And one is justified to think they are the ones, in fact, who sent those people to do that.
How far does President Edgar Lungu's immunity protect him in cases like this?
The immunity is only up for the period he was president.
But it still protects him now.
For acts done as when he was president.
So acts beyond that,
and that's
Yeah,
so that's
because
what's
then-
so funny.
yeah.
You have all these UPND guys going around making shouting at it, saying that no, because of what he has said at Dunamis Church, you must remove his immunity. What he has said in Dunamis Church has got nothing to do with his immunity. It shows you how shallow thinking they are. They don't even understand the things they're talking about.
So anything that he could have done until that the immunity protects.
Yes.
Anything that he is not protected. So
Yes.
he will report to the police if summoned, and if taken to court, he will definitely go to court.
I'm not ECL. He will make that decision. I'm not ECL. I cannot speak on his behalf. What I can speak
He
about.
seems to be very comfortable because he's got learned counsels around him. He said it in Dunamis that he's got you. I mean, I don't think that he is committing any crimes. If he is, I mean, you will definitely be there for him. He seems like he's well vested and he has confidence in you as a learned counsel.
Well, if he wishes to have my services, he will let me know if anything comes up to tell me that, I'd like your services. Right now, nothing has come up. He hasn't asked me for his services. So let's not speculate.
Do you think that you will have it easy as UKA if you will plan to get into the 2026 election as an alliance? With what you are seeing now, does that project challenges that really you will face challenges going into 2026?
There will definitely be challenges. There's no doubt about that. But what the Zambian people can be happy about is that we've got the guile, we've got the acumen, we've got the resource to overcome those challenges. The challenges will be there, but they're not insurmountable. What is insurmountable is to stop the wave that is UKA. That is something unstoppable.
The president, ECL, has been having these trips, and I think first we had a walk in the CBD here. It was described as, well, that's the freedom he has, but they still warned that he needs to carefully do this. And I think that he still has a couple of planned provincial visits. These obviously have been seen as campaign gimmicks. Will you be surprised if he is eventually stopped? Because obviously it looks like he is taking advantage of the cost of living, the economic status, and the government spokesperson has said it that he shouldn't take advantage of the status quo in as far as the economy is concerned.
It shows, first of all, that the UPND is admitting that they've put together policies that have driven this country to a stage where the cost of living is unbearable. Otherwise, they would not be saying, don't take advantage of it. If they had done well, they would say, go and tell them about the cost of living. We've done very well on that. But it's because they've totally failed. Now, when there is that total failure, and somebody comes up and says, look, I think I will be able to reverse this terrible trend which is there. That is not taking advantage of the bad state of affairs. That is giving hope to the Zambian people that do not worry, in spite of where you are, we are going to be able to turn this around. Zambian people need hope. Zambian people should not be kept in this state of despair. So nobody should stop anybody who wants to go out there and give the Zambian people hope.
What do you stand for as UKA, really? What do you want to achieve? I mean, Zambians right now are basically saying the opposition that we have today are not effective in terms of giving alternatives, in terms of giving credible checks and balances. What are you doing as UKA really? I mean, are you offering alternatives that people can believe in, which you are calling hope?
We are. Just look at our last press conference. Our last press conference, the main issue was actually delivered by President Jackson Slawe with regards to the monetary, with the MPR.
Yeah.
And we were stating where the faults are with that. That is providing checks and balances. We were stating what instead should be done. That is providing alternatives. During the question and answer sessions, a question was raised with regards to the issue of the gold reserves we have and other minerals. President Kateka handled that. She stated what was wrong, and that is providing checks and balances, and then stated what we would do in contrast to what is being done. That is doing that. So, and I've just used the example of the last presser.
Right.
At every single presser we've had, we have been doing that. We have been providing the checks, providing the alternatives, and so on. It is something we've constantly been doing. But with the UPND, they try to take your attention away from those things that we're saying. Instead, for them, it's, oh, ECL that, ECL that. And at the presser, we were not even talking about ECL. Yet that is what they want to focus on, so that they take your minds away from what we are actually stating. So I can tell the Zambian people, those who are saying, what are we standing for? Actually, each time we have a presser, listen very carefully, and you will hear what it is. Don't be worried about then checking what Times of Zambia or Zambia Daily Mail says. They are not going to tell you the good news. They are going to just tell you what they see as the bad news.
What is the good news?
For that reason, I would encourage everybody on 1st June to go and attend the New Heritage Party rally in Mandevu. A lot more of what we want to do will be stated at that rally. And as you saw from the way that she addressed the issue of the gold and minerals, that we do have an eloquent speaker in terms of putting across the issues in President Kateka.
Would that rally be successful still? You think that it will take place with what you have witnessed so far around Public Order Act?
In terms of success, there's no doubt that the Zambian people really want to hear what the leaders of UKA are saying. If you just look back at this weekend on Sunday, Dunamis, the place was flowing with people, overflowed to the outside, the church absolutely full. More than 2 times the number of people who were inside the church were outside the church. I mean, you've seen the pictures, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You've seen the pictures.
I watched the live.
And you watched the live. And the point I'm trying to make is this. You saw how huge that crowd was. We had marshals there. We had marshals. And the marshals managed that huge crowd. Not one incident of violence, not one theft, not one injury, nothing, because the marshals we have managed that. Equally, at Mandevu, we've got sufficient marshals. Heritage Party has got sufficient marshals to be able to ensure that large crowds like that which you saw at Dunamis are going to be marshaled in a proper way. So it is going to be very successful and peaceful.
ECL's statements in as far as Sunday is concerned has been misinterpreted, maybe because you were close and you're always together. You could explain what he meant when he actually said he was a snake, and on the other side he was a dove.
Is it Matthew 10? What is, if you read the actual scripture that he read, it talks about he's going to send you into a den of wolves. It will be like a sheep being sent into a den of wolves. Now, for you to be successful in there, you've got to be as wise as a snake and as peaceful as a dove. That is from the Bible. And he quoted the scripture and he said, as per the advice in this verse, I'm going to be as wise as a snake and as peaceful as a dove. That is what he said, and that is what he meant.
Well, this is the Tuesday edition of the Burning Issue here on 5FM Radio. We are also live on our other platforms, on our partner radio stations, and this includes Tuta FM in Mansa, covering Luapula province on 90.7 FM. We are live in Kabwe and Central Province on Spice FM on 91.1, and also Southern Province, Mazabuka. We are live on Wave FM Radio 98.7. Here in Lusaka, we are on 89.9. And of course, for Lusaka listeners, you may be experiencing some break in transmission. The technical team is working on it. That's a slight challenge we're having, but alternatively, follow us on Facebook, because on Facebook it's all smooth, and also online on platforms such as Radio Garden, Radio Box, or indeed Simple Radio. Those are just some of the platforms you can download on your phone and listen to us. Our guest this morning is Mr. Sakwiba Sikota, State Council, who is United Kwacha Alliance Chairperson. And we will be taking your calls on 0955-221515, and also send us your messages on the number 0761. All right, let me get that number right, and then I should be able to give it to you immediately. But for now, call us on 0955-221515. The number again you're calling us on is 0955-221515, and we'll be glad to hear from you. Also, leave us your comments on our Facebook page. That's 5FM Radio Zambia. We would like to get your views as well. All right, so State Council, I will ask that you get your sets on, and then I can take a few calls. Let's take this particular call. Hello, good morning.
Where are my headsets?
There, yeah. Good morning, Elvis. Welcome to the program. Great.
State Council, Sakwiba, Sikota, how are you?
You can hear me?
I'm good, and how are you?
Great.
I'm fine. You see, it's very comforting to hear you speak, and you speak very well. This government has totally failed to deliver on their promises. Today, we can be listening to the UPNB talking about democracy. What democracy have they brought, apart from bringing dictatorship in this country? You have not been allowed to campaign. This is why now people are resorting to campaign in churches. Because where there is brutality, you have to use certain tactics in order to make sure that you... Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, you have to use tactics in order to make your messages to be heard by the people of Zambia. This government, to me, has inflicted more pain on the people of Zambia. If you look at the cost of living today, I came from Mansa just 2 days ago. I came on Saturday. Look at the poverty levels in Mansa. Look at the poverty levels in Luapula. you see that it is a sorry sight when it comes to poverty levels. People are not even eating 3 times that. People are not even eating at all. If you take it today, all those things the UPND were speaking about, talking about that they could do wonders today, we can be buying and lining up for milli that 400 kwacha bag of milli. The same milli they are talking about, the indigenous milli. Jackie, if it comes, you see the line. There is a queue that Yakutisunga Gure no Gula. And when UKA and these other progressive opposition wanted to disseminate the information to the people, why we are going through this, these people are not allowed to campaign. If you take it that the UPND came on the premise of sorting out the problems, they knew the problems. The president was even using a calculator to calculate on how he's going to resuscitate the economy of this country. But today the economy is worse than it was in the PF. We'll be buying fuel at 55 kwacha, buying milli at 400 kwacha. We can be buying fertilizer at 1,050 that. What is this that we are seeing today? Jackie, I was in Rwapura province for almost 2 weeks. I moved a lot. Look at the road, just the road from Serengeti to Samsia. It's a sorry sight. Just when you reach Mukuku Bridge there, the Tuta Bridge. The Tuta Bridge, you find that the road is in a deplorable state as if there is no government. I saw that they have started making the dual carriageway. But this dual carriageway, what is the cost? And who is going to benefit? Yes, it is a good thing that they are making the dual carriageway that. But who is going to benefit? Because you cannot give a foreign company our own resources to be collected for 23 years. If it is up for Bazaki, Bazabwera, and Gamba for the Pila, if the Tingo Pila kept up to 23 years, that.
Thank you, Elvis. Thank you, Elvis.
The conclusion is that
because of time, we have to leave it. We have to leave it there. You have to pick some more calls. Let me take some more calls. But remember, send me your messages on 0761 912493 and make your comments brief as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you. Your name and where you're calling us from?
This is Freddy from Madigawa State Council. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ya State Council mkatoka from Kakumana na Vadiga Lungu mmoja TIPS1 kumetoa yupi patriot front ya Vutika na Maleta na Kapapa Shopu na station ya Dipati Maleta na zile Manchester za Pwanji wanakula kwa chetu mapane ya station ni 15,000 ni State Council mwauze.
Lakini Fred.
Yeah.
Zikob.
They can't bother my issue. State Council yamene wakamba kukati UPND mwipe violence. After badika cha Golongo wakitamtaoni za date. Naona makada zi wanapo wabuya after badika cha Golongo wachukamo na mapanga zi kwamba kupisha wakapogora kuti wa minyeo. Then wakapora pa president wakapora pa kamba tia there's no capitalism katika makapitalism. Manje ya jasima capitalism yetu kamba. Adani State Council kufuna tizive bali ukawatu ngene kila campaign for ground kila kitu kitu kamine 26. But our UPN the government of which is that she was a star out kutiuka register. Look at how the is whenever she behave. Sasa behave kuja kuziza dikuliweka kama kadazi. Vaita kuna PF kuti kuiniza pia kuna signature ya maosamba. Mani democracy ya bwanji. It dictatorship or bwanji. Secondly, when it comes to Mapawa, Malay, look at the rotating which was excelling in State Council. Ageni, kumbuyo kumalsedi njomba kumaktopa, manja pamfole kana kuloka, rotating yamba, but mino, ubanabana manoguisa Malaiti, kumakante zikuna ango Council boku Botswana kuna guisa Malaiti, kujero rotating, but seveneva ketina na Malaiti, kina rotating. Mani wasogole, wabwanje, waoneti na waoneti wangirela bantu, vatirira paground unga vose vadhura tomato vadhura kumosi tivaudza kuti vafiora usapoti panomozakamba vafiore 50 kuninga timanzi tikagamba kufonsa tiva just vita. That's why vantu vamona kuti vaitika chagorungu vantu vavengesa controversy ndio which vaitika chagorungu temwine ulepo kovekera ponifo vantu twamone avo mbopo twamone asonta kudasani for to avoid it, but it's not going to allow the Chagorong to understand. Can you please advise Mr. that you, if you are money enough, can you allow Edgar Chagorong to stand in 2026? And if you know that in white was in Sialusa, that's what Tavarela Lobusukuno by local concept that Chagorong will copy to the Comutanto meeting.
Thank you.
In our Catholic.
Thank you, Kinfred. Thank you, Kinfred.
Embarrassment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kinfred, for that. And of course, I've got a message here. Brightson Shatoa on Facebook says, "Good morning, moderator and Honorable Sikota. I think this country need healing from a leadership cancer. If we let things continue this way, this country will be a desert. What Zambians ought to do is get power from UPND government and give it to very honest people. Now, my question is, who should be trusted to lead this country from the UPND leadership?" All right, let's respond, Honorable Sikota. Let's respond to these, but also bear in mind that why are people singing and calling for ECL to stand again? And what would make us not believe that that's the agenda of UKA?
Okay. Thank you. Now, the first one who called is Jack.
Elvis.
Elvis,
yes,
sorry,
yeah,
not
yeah,
Jack.
yeah,
Elvis. And Elvis quite rightly did point out that this government has failed. There's no doubt about that. Poverty levels have reached levels that have never been seen before. He talked about the price of minimum. What I could add to what he said is that now you have people unable to get onto public transport in order to go to work. You have people getting up very early in the morning. By about 4 a.m., they're getting up so that they can walk to their working places. They will walk for up to about 2.5 hours, some even as much as 3 hours walking to work. At the end of the day, again, they will walk back from work 2.5, 3 hours. That's how desperate the situation has become. And that needs to change. Zambian people should not have to go through that. So I thank you, Elvis, for what you have said. King Fred also underscored that the situation is bad. There's no doubt. I agree with him as well. And he was worried that UKA will not be registered. Do not worry. Even if they do not register UKA, UKA is an idea that has gone into people's, not only in their minds, but in their hearts as well. It has taken over the entire country. Everywhere, every corner of Zambia, everybody is waiting for UKA. We get calls from everywhere. We get calls from Zambians abroad in the diaspora who are saying UKA must work. And UKA is certainly going to work. Now, even if they don't register UKA, do you know that Bali has never been registered? But the rallying call for the UPND was Bali will fix it. It was a false rallying call. And I don't know what they'll be saying, because they can't say Bali will fix it. They'll say Bali tried to fix it. Design themselves to that. But the point I'm trying to say is that if you can have Bali will fix it being the rallying call all over, and it is not registered, what's to stop UKA being the rallying call, even if it's not registered? So don't worry, registered or not registered, UKA is here to stay. UKA is on everybody's mind. UKA is going to be the answer to the problems that we have as Zambians. King Fred also talked about the long lines. Yes, this is a Tantameni government. That's what I can call it. And talked about the cost of tomatoes as well. I remember years ago, there was a very beautiful song which made hits, which was Tomato Valunda. I don't know whether you remember,
I remember
that
the song, yes.
I think it's going to become a hit again. We're going to find that it's going to be a hit again.
Yeah.
Then there was is it
Brightson,
Brightson?
yeah.
Brightson, yes. Who says that this country needs leadership that will be trusted. I think he's saying that because he has seen that this current government rather, is one which came with a bag full of lies to the Zambian people. And it has not shown any apology or remorse for having told those lies. If anything, they're increasing on the number of lies they're giving the Zambian people. And hence, Zambians are now sort of like skeptical about politicians because of the lies of this current government. All I can say to you, Brightson, is that all politicians are not the same. We are made of different cloths. What I can assure you is that us as a group in the United Kwacha Alliance, when we are putting forward statements, we go through them all together and vet and finalize the statements. We ensure that the things that we say we will do are actually doable. We will not be giving you just rose petal promises, which we do not know how to do. And we are truly committed to what we are saying. So I know that politicians' names have been given a bad name by this government and this leadership, but I can assure you we are not all the same.
But
then
yeah. I think that's all you've responded to. I think the other was
you had asked,
if the people already are coming out and calling out ECL to come back, you wouldn't pretend as UKA to think that that's not your flagship.
No, what we have is we've got a flagship which consists of a wide variety of people. We've got a flagship which is that any one of them is capable. We've got a flagship where some of the people within that flagship have said to the rest of us that they don't actually wish to be the flag bearers. We've got some within the group who say, I would rather be this, but I'm going to support whoever is put there. We've got some in the group who say that for me, in fact, once we get what we want, I am going to go into retirement. We've got a wide array of people. The reason why we've got a very wide array of people is because we know that the UPND is going to try to eliminate us in various ways. Some of those elimination may be by way of, you've seen that they're bringing all kinds of cases against people in the opposition, that this one here is going to have a conviction, so they won't be able to stand. They may try to destabilize our various parties so that at the last minute, you have a mouse sampa kind of situation in various parties, and they can't stand. So as a result, what we have in mind as UKA is that let us promote each and every one of the party presidents who are there, so that if somebody is eliminated, it won't then take us a long time to start saying, oh, let's sell this now other person and so forth. If even that second one is eliminated, there's a third, there's a fourth, there's a fifth, and the sixth, that they will not be able to stop UKA. If we do not approach it in that way, then they can just focus on one person. They may just focus on, let's say, for example, they'll say, okay, since they've chosen Sakwiba Sikota, let's fix Sakwiba Sikota. Let us send somebody within his party to disrupt things. And then we find that then we are lost. What do we do? So as a result, strategically, we have to push forward every single one of the members so that one time somebody can step in.
But also there are Zambians who are quite particular with the composition of UKA. And then, I mean, other than, for example, maybe Savoy, Jackson, and Madam Kateka, the rest are what they are calling recycled politicians. And Zambians
I'm recycled.
Well, I mean, you've been in politics for a long time.
But I've never been in government.
I know, but you are a legend in these things. I know that. So there's this concern to say, you know, you don't look attractive as a result of the fact that you've got a couple of recycled politicians. The other aspect I will share with you, based on what we're hearing, is that the people, in this case, Patriotic Front members, most of them are not happy that that's the route that Edgar Chagwa Lungu has taken, the UKA route. Reason being the fact that they feel they created this brand and now it's associating with individuals that were not a part of developing the ECL brand. And so there are mixed feelings around Edgar Lungu's association with UKA by his own people from Patriotic Front. That already is an indication of foreseeable confusion and division within the Patriotic Front.
Thank you. The issue of saying recycled politicians, I think that in any kind of situation, you need a good balance and a good mix. You need a balance of people with experience. You need a balance of people with innovative new ideas. You need an experience of people who are totally out of the box, thinking out of the box. If all you have is just singularly that particular set of people, you lose out. If you do not have the innovative set, for example, then you'll be carrying on repeating problem time after time after time. You need the innovators who will be able to say, but let us perhaps look at this in a different way. You also need those who are totally out of the box, who will tell you, they'll not be telling you, let us look at this. They'll be telling you something that nobody has even ever thought of, and they'll be saying, let's do this. It's never been done before, but this is, and then you all have a light bulb moment in your thing. Why didn't anybody think of that? You also need the experienced one, so that when you are there saying, we'll do this and this and this, I say, hey, hold on. We tried to do that and we messed up because we didn't take this into account. And so that hindsight that they have is useful for the group. It's like those old ladies and the old men when they're sitting on the yard and then their grandchildren want to run into the grass and say, hey, hold on, maybe snakes there in that grass, because they've got that wisdom to be able to give forewarning. So you need a mixture of that sort. That is when you have a perfect grouping of people. If you have just new people, there's not going to be that institutional memory and so on. That is part of the problem with what is happening in the civil service today. All the people with experience were moved out, have been shifted to cabinet office. There's over 400 civil servants, those with experience, who are just parked at cabinet office with no jobs. And then you bring in all these new people who have never worked in the civil service. And now you hear the president himself saying civil service is not working efficiently. If you don't work, it's because you've put people who don't know what to do. And you've taken away all the people who knew what one needs to do, who have been able to have been giving them guidance and advice. So in life, you must always make sure that you get a good mix of the old, the new, the innovative, and those who make you think, wow. And that's what UKA is.
There's also a thought that UKA is being funded by former President Edgar Lungu. And obviously he will want to claim the bigger stake. Well, that is if he is a funder, if you confirm, which I doubt you will confirm. But the question also is, if he is not, then who is financing UKA and UKA's activities?
No, thank you very much. What I can tell you is that I've got a number of people. Obviously, I will not tell you who they are, who have been helping to fund. I know that similarly with my colleagues, they also have a number of people who are helping to fund. I'm sure President Lungu as well has a number of people who are willing to fund and are assisting him. So we all do put in and do what we can. All of us are putting in what we can. Sometimes we even help to subsidize some of our own other fellow parties if at that particular time they've got a challenge. So it is a joint effort that we're making, and it is working very well.
Let me take some more calls on 0955 221515. Good morning.
Good morning, Sakwiba, Sikota.
Good morning, sir.
Dr. Proud is my name.
Oh, the famous Dr.
You're
Proud.
former member in UPND.
Yes.
Sakwiba Sikota was in a convention where we will run with our Republican president, including that person from South Africa. Is it in Kendi? Who ran in that race? From there, you resign, you form URP. From URP, you partner with the PF for Andaba Sata. Today, you are embalming Varung. The person who is in the country where all over, he failed to control. So, Sakwiba Sikota, including Freddie Membe, they post the newspaper, crossing to the Varung, not to present HHR. Today, those youths is
Dr. Proud, your line is
today, Balungu, that youths are parading you as a physical body. That is him who put grade 12 clothes, Zaki. Not those people to be employed in the government. It's not by age. So Balungu, they should not forget to come back, Baba. Be it 1 month, 2 months, forget. We don't want any more Balungu.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because including me, I can stand as a president. Including you, Zaki, you can stand. If Sakwiba has got if you are coward. as we are capable of taking over after our presentation, not to dream of Lungu on the if you present it,
Thank you, Dr. Proud, for that. Now, let me take some more calls before I throw in my question. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?
Fine, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is the senior citizen Fanuel Mangala, calling you from Lusaka here.
Fanuel Mangala, please go ahead.
Good morning, State Council.
Good morning, Romangala.
We are listening to whatever you are saying. We are excited, and I hope we are headed for somewhere. We are heading somewhere very promising. First of all, before I can finish my contribution, let me urge those of your colleagues in other political parties who have not joined UCA to do so now. This is a collective effort. We are not saying that you cannot exist as a political party or maybe to go it alone. It's a collective effort. You have seen the kind of a political party in power that we have. You will not manage without Imingalato. You won't manage. Join others. Zambians are going through a hell. Join others, don't stay away. My contribution, sir, what I would like to find out from you is that, do you see this government allowing you to hold rallies? Because these meetings that which are being held in classrooms, in churches, may not actually accommodate people that are required to come and listen to you. We have radio, TV, quite okay, but when people go to a meeting, there are a lot of things that they look for. So, what efforts are you making so that this government cannot continue with this kind of behavior? Of locking you out, of giving instructions who are going to speak, who are to what? Please, what efforts are you making? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fanuel, for that. I'll take one more call on 0955, then you can respond, State Council, 0955-221515. For those that are actually experiencing a bad signal on 89.9, we are having just a slight technical issue. But please do follow our conversation on Facebook. We are live, as well as on our other online platforms such as Radio Box, Radio Garden, as well as Simple Radio. So let's take this call. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Comrade Zach.
Good morning to
Good
you.
morning.
Your name and where are you calling us from?
Sikota, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Mwakabwanji naimwe.
Yauka na mavuto mwa kainde Chirema
Your
wa
name?
economists wakangiwa
Your name?
control economy.
Your name, sir?
Prominent Noel from Marapodi Lusaka here, sir.
Noel. Please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you. Sakwiba Sikota na alliance yenu muiwerera kunuma iyo. Pantfewe na Zambia turelando kweba enough is enough. It's not Edgar Lungu is calling for early elections, but it's for an ordinary person like me from Marapodi Lusaka here, representing people of this constituency who are saying enough is enough. We can't go like this. And we have a president who recently announced that just 2 months in power, he has done away with red shedding like it was previously. That was coming from his mouth. Now today we are having red shedding from 04 hours to 02 hours. How are we going to survive? This is the man who is encouraging people to work hard. How are we going to work hard? What is the definition of working hard? Imwe basakuza Sikota twachura pafura febena Zambia kuri ubu buteko muri yine 2 years batuteka. We are saying that early elections should come, and it's not a crime to go for early elections. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda was supposed to govern for 30 years, but his governance was cut short. He governed 27 years. Now, what is so special about Wakainde Shirima, who has failed? His 10-point plans have failed. These are the people who we coach him with no plans because they had plans. Now their plans are not working anymore. So what we are saying is that they should not intimidate either the Social Party of Fred member. They should not even intimidate even Avena Slavwe, including Hector Sondo. We have got democracy and we have to speak. They have empowered their cadres here in Manjab. They are moving with pistols in their cars. just to say that Ngawalanda Kuvunga, Nishkukuturomu Tokukula same footy. They are preparing for war. Instead of improving the economy of this nation.
Thank you,
In
Noel.
conclusion, sir,
Thank you,
let
Noel.
me conclude like this, sir. In conclusion, I'm saying that Muitina, before Zambia, we are behind you, and we are going to fight for you. We are ready for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me ask a very important question. Given the current situation that the UPND government is facing, especially the challenges that this government is facing. First of all, let's be clear that you do understand that the load shedding aspect is not something that you capitalize on and call this government they don't know what they are doing, because this is nature that's causing the load shedding. Also, you want to understand that even your political party, if you took over government in 2021, highly indebted country that it was, you would still have had a lot of challenges in obviously making sure that there's a debt restructuring achieved, and obviously being able to also resuscitate the mines, KCM, Mopani, which were obviously crippled. Obviously, this problem that we are going through, the difficult time that we are going through, regardless who was to take over this country, you were all going to inherit the problems that the UPND inherited. How then would you have done it different? How would you have anticipated not to have gone through this problem, having taken over, even as UKA?
Thank you very much. Dr. Proud, can see he's somebody who really likes to follow radio programs, never misses calling in, which is good, because that is what democracy is all about. It's about having discussions and so on. He, however, sometimes brings in things which are of not really any relevance. For example, harking back that ULP was formed, and it's got nothing to do with today. That was some 2006. It's almost 20 years ago, you know. So live with the times, Dr. Proud. Stop staying in the past.
Maybe he feels once a UPND member, always a UPND member, which you are.
Yes, I was amongst the founders of the UPND. That's very true.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I can talk about the UPND, because I know what we actually set out to do, what UPND was supposed to do. And when I see that that is not what is being done, the UPND of today is not Mazoka's UPND. Mazoka's UPND was very different.
And you were one of his vice presidents, right?
Yes, I was. That's why I can confidently speak about it, because I know that that is the case. It's very, very different. So hence I'm able to talk about how UPND has failed. He did talk about saying that I shouldn't be scared to stand. I'm not scared to stand. That's why UKA is there. I'm one of the people saying that I wish to stand for the presidential. So we're proud. If indeed you are telling me I shouldn't be scared, I hope you won't be scared to support me when I am on the ballot.
On the ballot.
And the one thing that I can also state is when he says leave HH alone. It's not HH that we're talking about. We're talking about what is good for the Zambian people.
Right.
HH is merely some side collateral issue. But what our focus is what can be good for the Zambian people? How can we make the Zambian people's lives better? I know that there's freedom. There's people like Proud who say that they will stick with HH. Proud, it appears, is happy that the minimum price is 400 kwacha and rising. Proud is happy that the cost of fuel is risen to 35 and is rising even more. Proud is very happy that the cost of living is where it is today. Proud is very happy that most Zambians cannot afford 3 meals a day. It's his right. Proud can be happy that Zambians are suffering the way they are. But I, unlike Proud, us of UKA, unlike Proud, are not happy that people are suffering in the manner that they're doing, that the price of midi meal keeps on going up, that the price of fuel keeps on going up. For us, that is not something that we are happy about, and certainly something that as Zambians we should be proud about. So keep that in mind, Proud. With senior citizen Fanuel Mwangala, thank you very much for your kind words. And I wish to assure you that we are not going to be cowed by what the UPND is doing. We will be having the rallies all over the country. On 1st June, one of our members, that is the New Heritage Party, are going to be having the rally in Maripodi, Mandevo. And it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge from the number of people they should go there. I can you're going to be seeing something similar to what we saw in the 1990s. The mood of the people is that they want to hear what alternative is there. They want to hear from UKA. What you saw in 1990 is going to be dwarfed with what you see the run up to the next elections and what you'll see at the UKA rallies.
And you think IG Musamba will not stick to his words on this?
I haven't heard him say anything. All I have said is that
even on the 1st June.
All I've heard is that they've advised, but they don't have the right to stop. That is
what have they advised?
They've advised to say no, perhaps not on this day's security situation, but they don't say what security situation there is. And like I was saying earlier on, you saw the large crowds at Dunamis, and you saw how we managed to marshal them so well. Not one incident of violence, nothing at all.
You are speaking as though that was not church gathering, but a political gathering.
It was a church gathering, but even with a church gathering, you've heard of situations like, I forget the name of that church, where they were giving out a midi meal to people and some lives were lost. That was a church gathering. So whether it's a church gathering or not, people need to be marshaled so that there is peace. And you saw how that was so well marshaled. No incidents at all. So equally,
that must have been an UKA church gathering.
It was not an UKA church gathering. It was a Dunamis church gathering. That's what it was. UKA members did go there, yes. UKA members are entitled to go to church. UKA members actually feel that the Lord and God and faith is important. We are not like UPND. Can you imagine that, was that on Friday or on Saturday, the Minister of Home Affairs says, you can go to Dunamis, but do not pray for the nation. How can anybody say the nation should not be prayed for? Every day we should pray for the nation. He says that we've got a national day of prayer, so wait for 18th October. No, every single day you should be turning to the Lord. You should be praying to the Lord every single day. That is something that the Home Affairs Minister seems not to understand. It is not just on Sunday that you should pray to the Lord. It is every single day. It is not only on 18th October that you should pray for the nation. You should pray for the nation every single day. It is because they are not doing this. That is why you see our nation doesn't have the favor that it should have. It is because people like Jack Mwimbu feel we should only pray for the nation on the 18th of October. Sad.
It was only was expected that even if it wasn't the UPND, any political party, like I said, and this is the time I need you to answer that question, that any government was going to go through these challenges today. They were inevitable, having inherited a very indebted country at the time, highly indebted at the time, and also what they are calling a collapsed economy.
It was not everything was inevitable. For example, we have this drought situation because when you first asked it, you said you also had put in the issue that some of these is
it's nature.
It's nature.
Yeah.
Now, with the drought issue, it shows you the total incompetence of the UPND government. The previous government put together stocks, sufficient stocks at the Food Reserve Agency. The stocks which came from 2019, 2020, 2020, no, as far back as 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. What the UPND did, immediately it comes in, sees all this strategic reserve and says, sell it. And they sold the whole lot. What you have to keep in mind is that that stock was put in place so that should we have maybe a war breakout or maybe something of nature like we did, we'll be ready in that we'll have stocks. We will not have hunger looming. We will not then be desperately trying to import in maize. But because of this inept government, they sold everything. Now we are running around buying back the same maize we had, but now at a higher price. You cannot say that was inevitable. That was ineptitude by the UPND government. We certainly would have done things differently, would have not been as irresponsible as that, as taking away strategic reserve. It's called strategic reserve for that very reason. But these people could not see that. On the issue of, it's still on the issue of the power. Yes, we are a highly indebted country, but seeing that we have issues of the fuel deficits, UKA, had we been in existence and come into office in 21, one of the things we would have done is to ensure that we do put together big solar plants in every part of the country. Solar plants, huge, I'm talking about huge solar plants, not small ones. You can have put together in 24 months. That can be done if you put your mind to it. One of the biggest suppliers of solar plants of that nature is China. What did this government do when it came into office? It started distancing us from China. Rather than drawing China closer to us, it started distancing us from China. President Hakainde went to the United States, and in what he thought was a private closed-door meeting, told the American Foreign Affairs Committee, Senate Committee, that he was going to sort out China, that he was going to make sure that China is no longer going to have the influence it has in Zambia. Unfortunately for President Hakainde, immediately they came out of that meeting, the head of that committee announced to the whole world that this is one of us, this is a good guy here that I have. He has just told us that he's going to sort out China, he's going to do this and that. That was very unwise. China has been our friend for a long time. China has stepped in when we've had difficulties, such as when we had the Tazara issue. Now to go out there and make those statements, and it's never withdrawn them or denied that he made those statements. He's never done so. We would not have taken that route. Instead of that, we would have, seeing that China is a lead in these solar issues, we would have gone to them and said, our friends, you helped us many, many times. You did even that big project for us, the Tazara Railway. We have got another big problem. Could you help with setting up these solar plants? Would be grateful if you make it a grant, but if not a grant, still give us, set them up for us, but give us time to pay back. I'm very confident that the Chinese would have heard us properly and with things. So it is not inevitable. It depends what type of people you have in power. So we would have done things very differently. We would now not be talking about this load shedding that is there. So we would be very different.
Let me, at this point, begin to conclude this particular interview. But first, let me ask you, as UKA chairperson, Honorable Sakwiba Sikota, the direction of UKA going forward. Registration seems impossible. I think from where I stand, it looks impossible, because also now there has been the issue of another UKA has been registered, all in an effort to, well, alleged, all in an effort to frustrate the registration of this particular UKA of yours. How will you move forward now that you've got these hurdles, which for me, they look like there will never be a way into registering UKA at all?
Thank you very much. Firstly, it is not that it cannot be done. It will be done, even if it means that it has to be them being compelled by the courts to do so. So shall it be. They will be compelled to do so. With regards to the so-called other registration of UKA, yes, there is somebody who wants to do something called, I believe, Unified Knowledge Africa,
Yes.
something like that.
Right.
Which the initials then are UKA. But that in itself would not stop us from registering United Kwacha Alliance, because I'll give you an example of CDP, Christian Democratic Party, the one that Apostle Pule has.
Yes.
Its initials are CDP. There's another party which is registered, Citizens, is it Development of Democratic Party, which is also CDP. So just merely having the same initials doesn't mean that you cannot register. Even in generally, ECZ, if I say ECZ, do you know that there are three different entities that I'll be referring to? Yes. There's Examinations Council of Zambia, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, Environmental Council of Zambia. You know what I mean? So just that the initials are there doesn't mean that another cannot be registered.
Right.
So that should not bother anybody. But like I said, even if, let's say it was not registered, UKA is in everybody's mind. UKA is in everybody's heart. UKA is in every corner of this country. UKA is UKA is making the UP UKA is going to be taking over. UKA is unstoppable.
And you don't anticipate leadership wrangles?
No, the good thing is that we've been interacting together for some time now and assessing each other, getting to know each other, being comfortable with each other. So much so that we do not have a messiah kind of a figure amongst the grouping. With most of these parties and organizations, you'll find that there is somebody who's the messiah.
Let's face it, he is.
No, he's not a messiah. He's one of us. He's not the messiah. I'm telling you as to how we relate to each other. He's not the messiah. He's one of us. He's as important as each and every one of us. Each and every one of us are important.
Do you intend to have a convention? Are there plans to have a convention?
We are going to be announcing at the appropriate time the manner in which the selection will be done. You have to understand that with everything we do, we cannot state it out there in the open because of the desperate opposition which is there. I refer to UPND as the ruling opposition because all they do is talk about us. All they do is to sit and plan how can they frustrate us. So they don't behave like a ruling party. They behave like a ruling opposition. That's what they are. So if we were to let everybody know the exact steps we are going to take and exactly when we'll do it, the ruling opposition is going to try to put spanners in the works. They'll send Inspector General Musamba to come over and disrupt and so forth. But be rest assured that that is going to be done very soon. An announcement will be made and you'll hear as to what has been done. What I need to also re-emphasize for the ruling opposition, the UPND ruling opposition, is that there is what is called the paradox of repression. As much as they're trying to repress us, as much as they're trying to put roadblocks, this actually works against them. I'll give you a quotation on the paradox of repression. It says as follows: "This tag is for situations in which the regime or other opponent uses punishment of some kind against the non-violent campaigners, presumably to deter them from further action. But the punishment produces a growth in the movement." All this repression they're trying to do of UKA is creating a growth in the movement. It is bringing more sympathy to the movement. So if I were them, I would fold up our plans of repression and simply start doing the right thing.
Your concluding remarks.
My concluding remarks is that soon and very soon, the Zambian people will realize the hope that is being put forward by the United Kwacha Alliance. There is going to be truly transformation in terms of the trajectory of this country. We will ensure that credible plans, doable plans are going to be executed on your behalf.
Mr. Sakwiba Sikota, State Council and United Kwacha Alliance UKA Chairperson, thank you very much for having spared your busy schedule, sparing some time off your busy schedule to be with us and have this conversation. It was important considering the fact that there were quite a lot of rumors around UKA and just people not understanding the direction and what UKA is about. But you came and helped us have this clarified for our listeners. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me and inviting me. I'm sure that Mailo, after you've heard what we have said, Muzao Kabuino.
Thank you very much. Well, that's what we had for you today on our Tuesday edition of The Burning Issue. Once again, apologies for the intermittent break in transmission due to a slight technical fault that is being worked on by our technical team. But we are grateful that you followed our conversation and participated, for those that did. And thank you also to our partner radio stations that carried this particular program live. And this is Tuta FM in Mansa, Spice FM in Kabwe, and Wave FM in Mazabuka. We will be back with the Thursday edition of The Burning Issue. From us all is take care of yourselves and more so of each other. Bye-bye.
Tune in next week.